Battles. Inchworm. More like inching its way to the end of that song. Am I right? Fargo. It's beautiful out here. Radio Free Fargo. We're at the top of the hour. KRFF 95.9 LPFM. Moorhead, Fargo. 701-478-4959. RadioFreeFargo.org. You can stream anywhere. And I said stream, but it sounded like scream. So you can do both of those anywhere in the U.S. of A. And donate as well if you'd like. So wherever you're at, you can listen to us. Side Stage with Trav, noon to 3 on Thursdays, and an hour of automation. And then Canna-Talk ND with Wilson, that's me, from 4 to 5. And then we got Stinky Arts Music Mart. And then Local on the 8. And Boom, Bang, Bing, that's your Thursday. But anyway, well, you're wondering, wait a minute, what did you say was happening now? Canna-Talk ND with Wilson. We talk about cannabis in a positive light. I'm going to do that a full hour. And you're going to be glad that I did it. 420, we open a big fat bag of cannabis news, and this Thursday's no different. I'm going to intermingle all that high-valued talking with tunes of high intellect and, going to make you think really hard. But anyway, it's 420 degrees here in the studio. I'm dressed appropriately. I hope you guys are too. And again, at 420, I'm going to talk about cannabis. Last week, as you guys know, all 3,000 of you that listened to me it was crazy how uptight I was, but yet not showing it on the mic, because it was pretty intense, I feel. Like it was a pinnacle of my expectation for myself, how I would interact with a particular person like that. And I passed. I gave myself a B+. And so this show, all I'm going to do is talk about cannabis in a positive light until 5 o'clock. And then I'm going to hand it over to Stinky Art Music Mart. And then, then my time is done. And you can go back to substantiating your day with real content. However, cannabis is something that will benefit everybody. In fact, this show is brought to you by Black Cottage Alchemy, which their thing is body butter. Her thing is body butter. It's made with kosher, full-spectrum CBD and North Dakota-grown hemp. And the three things that was brought to baby Jesus with three wise men, that's in here too. You can use it for inflammation, dry and irritated skin, all the funguses, and you can go to Oddstands Gift Shop, 2111 Main Avenue, East West Fargo, or you can come here, Tochi Products, right across the street here. You can get that in there. Just tell Joe you want Becky's body butter, and then ask him where the petition is, because you'll want to sign for the Indie for Freedom of Cannabis Act in there too. It's also at Orange Records. You can go in there, buy yourself some sweet vinyl, and sign the petition. So you help everybody, and you get out of the house. It's probably time you did that anyway. You feel me? And some of you people don't even have a home. So this is for you. The New Life Center helps people who are homeless and hurting go from merely surviving to truly thriving. Their aim is to help people in need discover value and find hope. The New Life Center has evolved into a multifaceted emergency and crisis service center. To learn more about NLC, visit the website at www.fargonlc.org or give them a call at 701-235-4453. Okay, Canna-Talk ND with Wilson. Every Thursday we get started at 4. I tell you who the hour is sponsored by. I tell you at 4:20 we're going to talk about cannabis, and this is no different. I'm going to try to keep it local. Because there's some interesting things going on in South Dakota and North Dakota. They're interesting. I wanted to say that St. Paddy's Day Parade that's coming up Saturday, there's going to be a petition that you're going to be able to sign. It's my presumption that there'll be an actual float that's going to pass by you. So all you got to do is just sit there, and it'll happen for you. But anyway, Indie for Freedom of Cannabis Act should have petitions down at the parade, downtown Fargo. So get out there, be square, and do your part for people-powered legalization. And there is a legislated-driven initiative. We had the chief sponsor on last week. And again, we'll talk about those because the people do have power. If we call all the senators and we hound them, maybe it'll change. So there's something to think about, and we'll talk about it. And then the decrim bill, that's moving its way through the Senate too. And again, we'll talk about what I think at 4:20. But Radio Free Fargo, KRFF 95.9. We're at the time where I'm going to play a tune. This is Goofballs, Keller Williams, and the Fields and the Keels. We'll see you in a bit. Oh, man, I'm going to pretend like I just didn't possibly hear an obscenity, and I apologize for that. I thought I proofed it in. Basically, I don't know. It might be that other word that isn't that word, but If you're listening to me, Doug Burgum, I didn't do it. But anyway, Radio Free Fargo, Canna-Talk ND with Wilson every Thursday. We get in here and I talk about cannabis in a positive light. Canna-Talk ND on YouTube. We'll play this again minus the music. Philip Cannahead Pilko does a show on Canna-Talk ND. It's a YouTube page. He's the guy making me sound better all the time. But anyway, thank you for what you do. And you can listen to him on Sundays. And you can listen to me. I'm thinking tomorrow we might change up the time. But Indy for Freedom of Cannabis Act is also a petition being circulated, in your town. I'm sure you can get a hold of it. So go get it signed and then tell other people why. I just kind of freaked out. I'm like, well, what am I going to talk about next? And I didn't even really know. So I grabbed my my handy pocket guide to pot. And I just marked a couple strains here quick, and now this is primarily for medical card holders or for people in states that have their liberties and are allowed to, stay healthy with the plant that does nothing but medicate. It's outside of you can argue that smoking, however, they claim that cannabis smoke actually makes the lungs stronger when it coughs. It kind of builds up the muscle, as it were, kind of like what a vaccine would do. But again, I don't know how many people say that, and I haven't seen a lot of stinking, stats that says when you cough from a cannabis hit, it strengthens your lungs and it doesn't damage it. I mean, I don't use anything that has a lighter or combusts, and I can tell you that I'm healthier. So, other than that, I would say that it's no less damaging than a bag of Doritos every day, which I could also argue is probably way worse, But anyway, RadioFreeFargo.org, KRFF 95.9. Every Thursday, I get in here at 4 o'clock, 4:20. I open a big fat bag of cannabis news, and we're going to do that here. And I'm basically slow rolling up to this particular strain. It's called the Abusive OG. It's a hybrid. Smells like lemon, pine, and fuel. This variety of the renowned OG Kush is rumored to have its origins that trace back to the famous rap artist and marijuana advocate Snoop Dogg. Regardless of the rumors, Abusive OG is no doubt a prime example of an OG. Very dense nugs, heavily coated in crystals with a unique sour pine. The legend of OG. When OG is used in a strain name, it typically refers to its lineage back to the original OG Kush strain. The initials OG are thought by most to mean ocean grown for OG Kush's roots. But basically, it could be original gangster, which, since I live in the Gardner, I like to think I am the original OG, original Gardner. But ain't nobody that's been in there longer than me can attest to it, you know what I'm saying? And finally, Cataract. The super dense buds of Cataract have a unique color palette that shimmers in a heroic silver tinge. It's a cross between LA Confidential OG Kush, which we talked about. It's an indica. You medicinally use it for pain, appetite, and insomnia. It's got a couple medical cannabis cups awards, and this fortified strain is definitely a nighttime toker that shouldn't be taken for granted. The high is a serious creeper that will continue to slowly build and intensify long after the last hit, so puff cautiously. Which, creeper, I remember that back in the day. If somebody said to me, I've got this creeper, they're going to try to tell you that just because you didn't feel anything while they were around you, never fear that when I'm gone, then you're going to be like, oh yeah, this is why I paid for this. Seemed like always a bait and switch. People will argue about creepers just for me long enough to get you to pay the money to realize it ain't nothing going to happen on that. So again, creeper seems a little interesting to me, but hey, they don't pay me the big bucks to not say anything of nothing. You know what I'm saying? Canna-Talk ND with Wilson. We're going to talk about cannabis in a positive light. I'm not going to do a whole lot of thinking. If you thought I got a big clipboard out with talking points and stuff, no, I'm just going to keep talking until it's 5 o'clock. Then I'm going to tell everybody to educate themselves and educate others on cannabis. And bing, I'm going to be out the door. So anyway, oh, man, how beautiful is it if you live in Fargo? And if you probably live other places, it's probably nice, too. But anyway, we talk about cannabis in a positive light. The sun is shining. But even if it wasn't, I'd be telling you that the benefits of cannabis are endless. And I'm going to push into the song right now. I got two. I almost played this guy all show. I almost played one whole album. This is Superman. I played him before. But I'm going to play a couple off his new album, Illuminatives. And come on, I mean, Illuminatives. But, if he would probably tell you he's not part of the Illuminati. But the Illuminati probably wouldn't tell you whether or not that he's a part of them. You feel me? So anyway, here's a couple songs from that brand new album. And I'll see you in a bit. Yes, indeed. Talkbox, Roundy, and then wrapped it up with a Little Love remix. That was Superman, Illuminatives, brand new album. I'm going to probably, I'm going to get them all played. I was going to play every song, but, I started thinking that was too much. But anyway, Radio Free Fargo, 95.9, Canna-Talk ND with Wilson, 420. We talk about cannabis in a positive light, and this stinking Thursday is no different. I'm going to play a little bit of this. You get ready. Come on back.
Yo, it's Wilson from Canna-Talk ND. The super awesome show you're getting ready to listen to. I think you should go and subscribe to the YouTube channel. I'll wait. Okay, enjoy the show.
Okay. Hello, everybody. Canna-Talk ND with Wilson. Every Thursday at 4:20, we talk about cannabis and cannabis legalization, and we're going to do that today. I just don't know how. I don't know how to start, But I'm going to read this off the Rapid City Journal, and we're just going to go from there, all right? So anyway, Rapid City Journal, this is out of Pierre. Advocates for recreational marijuana in South Dakota argued the future of the ballot initiative process is at stake as the state Supreme Court weighs a voter-passed constitutional amendment to legalize marijuana. This is the recreation one, according to documents filed Wednesday. And so let's just sit there a second. The advocates argue, and they shouldn't have to argue, that the future of the ballot initiative process is at stake here. It seems like the people that can make the difference are the ones that don't seem to know that the future of the ballot initiative process is at stake. I mean, I don't even live in South Dakota. I just come to look at the stuff, the hills, the Black Hills. That's all I do. Now, just kidding. South Dakota's a great state. And I've been watching this unfold. Almost, it's gut-wrenching. It's gut-wrenching for people to want a particular thing that I know is going to be a benefit to everybody, getting hemmed up by people who have ulterior motives. Because the arguments, again, and you've heard me say this 1,000 times, but the arguments don't hold any water anymore. Yet they're still trying to do it for their own ulterior motives, and those are starting to show. So anyway, South Dakota voters in November passed a constitutional amendment legalizing marijuana. But a state circuit judge in January struck that down as unconstitutional, which, let me just say this, it passed a constitutional amendment. They voted it in. So let's say Indy for Freedom, same deal. They do all the work. I'm not in this one, but they do all the work. They get it, which if you guys are at the St. Patrick's Day Parade downtown, make sure you sign. Anyway, they all do all this work and get it in, and all you people, you do your little pre-voting parties like Measure 3. Oh boy, we're going to go and we're going to do our part and we're going to get this done. And then you celebrate the next day because you got it done, you thought. But then a state circuit judge strikes it down as unconstitutional. What's going to keep that from happening here in the state of North Dakota? I would argue if things don't work out the way the government in our state likes it, they will strike it down as unconstitutional. And that's where ballot initiative processes are at stake now for South Dakota. Because this isn't the first time, Iowa, Nebraska, same deal. They got it so far, and then the Supreme Court voted 3-2 as there being some sort of, stipulation that doesn't work. So just keep all that in mind as we go into this North Dakota thing, because I hate to say it, but at the end of the day, if a government makes something, then that's the way it's going to be. There ain't going to be any kind of weird, gray area. Now, it'll be overreaching. It'll be very regulatory. But if they create a way to get cannabis legally, to me, it should be the win for now, But again, I don't love that it takes 49 pages for the government to tell me how to do something, which is how many pages of gobbledygook that's in the House Bill 1420, which, is soon to be through committee. So I thought about today, I'm going to tell everybody, you got to get a hold of your senator, you got to tell them, vote House Bill 1420. But now I don't know that I can. I don't want to tell you that. I want to tell you that legalized cannabis is a plus for everywhere. And every state that has it will show you that things don't get worse, they get better. All the way across the board. Opioid use. Youngsters getting a hold of the devil's rabbit food. You know what I mean? So it's just a matter of convincing that what's their stumbling block here? The government, the state government. Otherwise, we would just do what we do. But there's a consequence because we're ruled by the state government. And up till now, they gave us a weird decrim, which was kind of still expensive. So the decrim now, I like it. I like it. So I would suggest to you guys, read both of those coming up. Because I think next week the committees look at them, and then it goes to the House, the full floor of the Senate. And then that's when, we'll know if we'll either get decrim in North Dakota or this recreational legalization. But again, I say, and I used to, when I was a kid, and I knew that cannabis was medicinal, and I needed to keep it in my arsenal so I didn't, do anything mental. But anyway, I knew how, oh man, I just forgot what I was talking about. That's horrible. But anyway, I just know how hard it is to get a hold of something if it's, if it's regulated. If it benefits you. Convincing somebody else that it benefits you has been hard my whole life, and it's still a battle. I mean, I get a foot in the door even with my family, and they go, "Well, if you need the dope, so it's a process." And if the state's gonna allow it to be, even if it's parceled out, I worry about saying don't call your senator and tell them to push that through, that House Bill 1420. With the decrim, and that's even wondering whether or not. See, here's the thing that I have a problem with. In my gut, I think it'll pass. And that's what's got me hung up. Because I don't know that the fact that they want this through to the point where they wouldn't have 6 weeks ago or whatever, you know what I mean? Past those guys had some sort of weird reasons. So now it's almost like we're playing with our stinking freedom, folks. So anyway, so make sure, you know what you're doing before you start hammering those senators about this upcoming, vote in the floor of the Senate about their version of legalized cannabis. Now, I said everything's better than nothing, and it is. But, feel me? So anyway, now back to South Dakota, because these guys are in all kinds of trouble. The people want cannabis, and they're fighting against the people that they put in to take care of them. Isn't that crazy? And that's what South Dakota is up to their nipples in, because the people voted it all through, and now here we are fighting for what they voted for. So the problem I have is, it starts to defragment government for me. I mean, why depend on somebody that would go against you anyway and is showing that they don't care what you think? So that's a scary place to be in our current situation, I would think. But anyway, I got off on a tangent there. But anyway, South Dakota voters in November, they passed it. And so this case is just not about marijuana, said our attorney Tim Bayon. It is also about the future of initiative process in South Dakota. And I would argue that it's going to benefit the initiative process everywhere, everywhere. Because, again, it takes a lot of work for the people to do it themselves. You have to have the manpower. You got to care. You got to be out there. You got to be out there no matter what. Your kid's sick. It doesn't matter. You got to be out there, where the legislators doesn't seem like they have to work that hard to do what I asked them to do, So anyway, I'm going to get out of here, though. The ability of voters to decide what's right, what rights their Constitution guarantees is a fundamental and sacred right. The ability of voters to decide what rights their Constitution guarantees is a fundamental and sacred right. Boy, that guy doesn't know how to write a sentence. But anyway, 2 law enforcement officers, Rick Miller and Kevin Thome, they sued to block marijuana legalization by challenging its constitutionality. Miller was effectively acting on behalf of South Dakota Governor Kristi Noem, which apparently the taxes are also fighting, like your tax dollars is also fighting for, I don't know, hopefully I can find that article. But anyway, attorneys for Miller and Thom have 2 weeks to file their arguments to the Supreme Court. A hearing date for oral arguments has not been set. So let's just keep cruising here. North Dakota, we've been talking about it. North Dakota marijuana legalization bill receives first Senate committee hearing following House passage. So a bill to legalize marijuana in North Dakota that passed the House last month received its first hearing in a Senate committee on Monday, with debate centering mostly on who should shape the policy change that most observers increasingly see as inevitable, the legislator or the voters. And so here we go. With activists already mounting a signature-gathering campaign to place a ballot initiative before voters in 2022 that would amend the state constitution to legalize cannabis for adult use, which, again, Orange Records, Tochi Products, we have a petition. And if you're at the parade, search that out, and somebody will be down there with a petition. And that's how you get that done. For adult use, legislators are now faced with a quandary. Okay? And I don't even know who was telling Marijuana Moment that they have a quandary, or did they come up with the facing a quandary themselves? But anyway, they could wait and see how that process unfolds, or they can advance more restrictive reform legislation sponsored by a Republican lawmaker who doesn't even personally support ending prohibition. Now, he didn't seem like a big anti-supporter when he was on the show last week. And that bill, led by Representative Jason Doctor, who was on the show last Thursday, it narrowly passed the House. So the Senate Human Service Committees took it up Monday, hearing from supporters, And the panel didn't vote on the measure, but the testimony offered a preview of the discussion that's to be had over the coming weeks. So anyway, he goes, I've said several times I've never smoked marijuana. I don't believe in marijuana, but I also believe that I'd rather have us have good legislation than to put it in the Constitution. And he seems to think that those politicians all believe that, So why can't we get somebody that believes in marijuana? Where's the... I don't know. Why is there not more people that are for it? But again, then people tell me, well, it's about the money. They've got systems set up to make revenue off things that are currently in place. I mean, one cannabis arrest equals their budget plan, and so I just wish that wasn't the case. But keeping people down is what we do. And by we, I don't mean me. But anyway, Radio Free Fargo, KRF 95.9. Canna-Talk ND with Wilson. Every Thursday, I get in here at 4:20. We open a big fat bag of cannabis news, and that's what I'm trying to do now. I'm not going to say this is not my best work, but it's really sunny out in Fargo, so I hope everybody's having a nice day. And I'm trying to get through this stupid article. But anyway, Doctor says, I believe it's the job of our lawmakers to have good policy, even if you don't agree with that or with what the topic that the bill has in it. Reform advocates might not agree that it's ideal policy that the representative is putting forward, but it certainly would be a step forward. House Bill 1420 would allow students or adults, The sponsor said he wants to be proactive and that a lot of times we're reactive in government, and he's right. But why can't they get somebody in there that knows about cannabis to help them? And David Owen, chairman of the pro-reformer group Legalize ND, I don't know how big of a puffer he is, and he seems to have the ear of everybody, But, I mean, how much cannabis is he consuming? So, I mean, I feel like he could be convinced that he likes money and not cannabis. You know what I mean? Because I feel like you need somebody that cares, like a Cheech or a Tommy Chung or a Willie Nelson. We need a Willie Nelson in Fargo. Willie, come to North Dakota, buddy. Play a couple tunes. Cannabis in North Dakota is real neat. I mean, I'll even write the song for you. But anyway, the legislator isn't representing the people on this issue. So if lawmakers fail to act, voters will decide on their own via the ballot. But again, I think they're going to do that anyway. I think that's what we're seeing. We're seeing people and what they want for themselves and others. And then legislators, what they think they want us to do or be. So I think there's going to become a definitive line in the sand that the people are going to show you at the ballot this next time around. And what with the hubbub of this last election, it's transparency and whether or not there wasn't, that one word involved. I don't want to get canceled. But anyway, I feel like you're going to see some sort of linear back to people will only vote for ballot initiatives. It's the only way people will make any movements. You're like, no, I ain't voting for the legislators, goofiness. Let's come up with our own, almost like decentralizing money. Let's just come up with our own, rights and just vote somebody in for them, But anyway, when there's a fear that one side isn't going to act in good faith, that's how things get in the Constitution, which Owen said. And I don't know. I've never seen two comparative kind of like races that we're seeing in North Dakota. But anyway, this is for Normal Driving Simulator Study. THC per se limits are unreliable predictors of psychomotor performance. Australia, the presence of THC concentrations in either blood or oral fluid are unreliable indicators of driving impairment. Australian researchers assessed the relationship between THC levels and driving performance in 14 volunteers. Participants vaporized cannabis samples of varying potencies, high, low. Blood and oral fluid samples were collected 30 minutes following inhalation and again 3.5 hours later. Researchers reported that neither the presence of THC in blood nor in oral was a reliable measurement of driving performance. So basically, I'm here to tell you, being cheeched up doesn't affect your driving, per se. If anything, again, I think it might help you hyper-focus, make you focus on, the things that you need to be focusing on to be driving. And, I don't know, it's not a crime because it's been so long ago. I haven't driven forever. But, I've clocked thousands of miles medicated. Maybe 20 or 30,000. And if I had to choose what I would rather be driving long distances, you know what, now, I'm not going to lie, a lot of those years I was also on speed. All right? So I might not be a good example. So just don't use me as an example. But I will tell you that being medicated on cannabis is nothing like, say, taking a bunch of hydrocodones after your wisdom teeth were yanked and then drive to Wyoming. I can tell you that. But basically, I didn't want to bore you with all those details. So basically, they did a survey. They found out that it don't matter, in your blood or wherever it is, you cool. Just be driving, buddy. Just keep driving. Okay, Colorado sold more than 187 million in legal marijuana in January. But before I got too sidetracked, let's see, next House Bill 1420 hearing is on Monday at 9 a.m. Well, thank you, Pilco. So you heard it here first. I heard it here first. House Bill 1420, Monday at 9 a.m. So anyway, Measure 26 is kind of like a fact thing. This is from South Dakotans for Better Marijuana Laws. I just wanted to tell you a little bit what happens when Measure 26 takes effect on July 1st, 2021. That's the South Dakota Medical. So beginning on July 1st, medical marijuana patients who are facing criminal prosecution on marijuana-related charges will be able to use a new legal defense to avoid convictions provided they meet certain conditions. This is known as the affirmative defense, and it also is referred to as the Mercy Amendment during the legislative session. So you can read all the details in South Dakota laws. When will South Dakota patients be able to get medical marijuana ID cards? They don't know the exact date, but the deadline for the Department of Health to start issuing cards, November 18th, 2021. That's this year. We hope that the process can begin sooner. The deadline is in the law. You can read it here. Once a South Dakotan has a medical marijuana ID card, they will be protected from arrest and prosecution. Now, I do want to read a little something here. A person with a debilitating medical condition sounds a whole lot like compassionate care, the medical bill, back when it was horrific. We've made leaps and bounds with North Dakota medical program. But man, it's got a long ways to go, and it came from a dark, dark place. And I'm going to tell you this, I'll tell you. The definition is a chronic or debilitating disease or medical condition like wasting away or cachexia. Did I pronounce that right? Debilitating pain, severe nausea. And because I used to say back when they tried pushing this initially, if you were drooling on yourself and you had hospice and people that you couldn't hear were saying, oh, we better get, a cake ready for the funeral, they would said, well, he can have cannabis. How restrictive, And again, those are the same guys that are trying to tell you House Bill 1420 is the way to go too. I'm just saying. So if this recreational measure is anything like the medical's restriction, its first year out, you might as well shoot yourself in the face. if you think it's going to give you any help at all. And again, I worry that the recreational license are going to allow people to exhaust the inventory, and the people that medically need it aren't going to be able to get it. But again, I don't know. But anyway, so seizures, severe nauseas. When will medical marijuana cultivators dispensaries start operating? They should be able to start operating 90 days of October 29, 21. So anyway, Amendment A, let's see, it sounds like on July 1st people will only be able to claim. And that's the thing. I don't know. I wish everybody the best in South Dakota. And let me see here. What else? Their champions Measure 26. Let's see. Legal team for marijuana makes first arguments. Date. House Bill 1100. Long live Measure 26. And that was the thing. The known proposal was not passed in conference committee, which would have made a wide range. Let me see. I was hoping I could find where. Well, anyway, they're really working hard to stinking mess them up in South Dakota. All their hard work. Oh, I wanted to say from Indiana, a routine traffic stop yielded more than a half a ton of cannabis, estimated street value of $8 million or more. Instead of getting a ticket for a moving violation, something tipped off police, a canine unit was used. The driver is now facing multiple felonies. In Indiana, the smaller direct sighting of cannabis is enough probable cause to call in the dogs. The Sugar Wolf said, meanwhile, a pound of meth just got successfully batched right down the street. And he ain't kidding. So anyway, let me see. Officials with Governor Kristi Noem's office told the Argus Leader on Wednesday they are not tracking the amount of time or public resources used to support attorneys in the ongoing legal battle over constitutional Amendment A. I get so fired up. Let me say that again. People in Kristi Noem's camp told the Argus Leader newspaper they are not tracking the amount of time or public resources used to support attorneys in the ongoing legal battle over Constitution Amendment A. So it seems fundamentally backwards that the government, and I'm reading from this guy, it seems fundamentally backwards that the government can use state money to sue to overturn a law that they themselves allowed the constituents to vote on. I'm going to read that again. This person, Alex, says, I speak for so many people when I say it seems fundamentally backwards that the government can use state money to sue to overturn a law that they themselves allowed the Constitution or the constituents to vote on. So technically it did. Taxpayers were paying for the Attorney General to defend Amendment A in court. Amendment A in court, which means the taxpayers were paying for both sides of a legal case to overturn the will of the people. Let me read that again. Technically, it did. Taxpayers were paying for the Attorney General to defend Amendment A in court, which he backed out of because, remember, he said he hit a deer with glasses. Whatever. Which means the taxpayers were paying for both sides of a legal case to overturn the will of the people. Isn't that insane? St. Patrick's Day Parade Saturday, downtown Fargo. If you're there, make sure you sign the ND for Freedom of Cannabis Act petition. I believe there's a float that's going to just be coming right on by your celebratory hind end. But anyway, that's just crazy to me in South Dakota. So what a mess, and if you don't think it shakes the faith of the people, that's people's power, something happened. There was two groups, and one group identified with more about who you were, and another group identified with the other group. And somehow they became the groups against the people that put them there. Like there's a wall all of a sudden. And when it comes to cannabis, we can benefit from it, folks. We just can. So let's just do it. Let's just do it, And so anyway, Canna-Talk ND with Wilson every Thursday. I get in here at 4 o'clock, 4:20. I open a big fat bag of cannabis news. And, if you were with you, I can assure you that I did. And next Thursday, I can assure you I'll be back in here talking about a week's curation of cannabis legalization in progress. And as you just heard, House Bill 1420 is going to seems like that's past committee. Yeah, I think that might be past committee. So that might be the good one. So stick with North to Cannabis, which is still Indie for Freedom Facebook, and Canna-Talk ND on Facebook, and I'll keep you posted as we, get cooking. But it is exciting, and it's even, like I said, even more interesting to me that people do have power because they are making movements because they're afraid that we're going to make movements. So it's a crazy chess game, and I think we should vote with the people all day long. And if we have to, just call your senators and tell them to forget House Bill 1420 and push through the decrim, and we'll take care of the legalization stuff ourselves. Again, Indie for Freedom of Cannabis Act is a great measure. It's been vetted. David Thompson took care of it. So that's just, I'm saying, call your senator, tell them to push through decrim, push House Bill 1420 if they wanna, and then let's just make sure the people get to decide. Because if they're scared about it, it must be you guys are heading in the right direction. So I feel, challenged, and I feel like we should show that maybe the people is right. You know what I'm saying? This hour of music on KRFF 95.9 LPFM is being underwritten by Flatland Guitar and Lutherie. Flatland Guitar is your full-service guitar shop and your exclusive dealer for Yamaha, Taylor, and Paul Reed Smith guitars, amongst many others. They also sell guitars on consignment as well as take trade-ins, along with having a full-service on-site repair center. Check out Flatland Guitar and Lutherie on Facebook or visit them in person at 1450 25th Street South in Fargo. So thanks, guys, for hanging out. I got some music I'm about ready to put in your ear. This is from Daniel Lanois. Well, let me just tell you. Lanois. Is it like Lanois, like Illinois? So is it Lanois or Lanois? But anyway, he's been a producer of a lot of albums, and he put out his own. I didn't know he was a steel guitar guy, and I love that. So we've got 7 minutes of this guy, and then I'll come back and I'll tuck you guys in. Let me see. Side Stage with Trav every Thursday noon to 3. Then it's Canna-Talk ND, that's me, from 4 to 5. And then you got Stinky Art Music Mart, and then the locals on the 8, and that's your Thursday. So I'll see you in a minute. Where will I be? Daniel Lanois, Chest of Drawers. In between that, this may be the last time. That's an old Charlie Parker, I'm guessing. I don't know. I know it's an old blues dude. Charlie Parker came to my head, but I don't think it is. Canna-Talk ND with Wilson every stinking Thursday. I get in here at 4 o'clock. 4:20, I open a big fat bag of cannabis news, and this Thursday was no different. Boy, we had a good time, didn't we? Downtown Fargo's shiny like a new penny today. The spring is here, I think, so let's get our big fat arms around it and welcome spring because, I don't know, I feel like my whole chi is different. I mean, I was thinking about that today. I thought, well, maybe I'm eating better, maybe my mental stability is getting better, and that might be true, after I'm pursuing a higher spiritual kind of awakening along with, holistic or natural alternative medicines. That's highly likely. But I'm thinking it's the vitamin A or D in the sun that I'm starting to see a little more. I think that's one benefit of the spring ahead is that my body is absorbing more sun than I normally would. KRFF 95.9 LPFM, Moorhead, Fargo, 701-478-4959, RadioFreeFargo.org. You can go there and listen to any show that's streaming, or you can donate money, which is more important. We want your money. We don't care what you're listening to. Just kidding. RadioFreeFargo.org. That's where you can go and take care of independent radio. Because, again, they would censor the snot out of me any other kind of radio station. But I speak the truth. And a radio station that responds to truth-telling is Radio Free Fargo. So shout out to them. I respect them. So I'm not going to do anything that, would be considered disrespectful. So that's how that kind of works. And this show is brought to you by Black Cottage Body Butter, Black Cottage Alchemy on Facebook or online. They do a bunch of stuff. But this body butter is really the bee's knees. It's made with kosher, full-spectrum CBD, North Dakota-grown hemp, and the 3 things that the wise men brought to baby Jesus, that's in there too. You can go to Odds to Ends Gift Shop, 2111 Main Avenue East, West Fargo, or Tochi Products. Go in there, tell Joe Wilson said hi, sign the petition, or if you're in Orange Records, there's a petition for you to sign in there. And if you educate yourself so you can educate others on the benefits of cannabis, because really it's endless. I'll be back here Thursday. Oh, I just wanted to say no Stinky Art Music Mart tonight. Sorry, but they will be back next week. I'm Canna-Talk ND with Wilson. I'll see you next Thursday. Here's David Allen, Judgment Day. Peace.